So as you can see on the screen, this is the pre-scene for May and August 2024 exams. The pre-scene name is Kanann, and we have a beautiful horse here. So basically, this company is manufacturing equipments for horse riders, as we can see from the picture. And basically, going forward, we can see they are talking about making a seat, which is known as saddle for the horse. All right. Before starting, it's important for us to understand the context statement, which has been given across case studies now. The primary reason for this is to tell that there is a lot of changes happening globally. The war is going on, and other issues are happening. So we should not consider that in the exam. Technically, we are trying to do a real life case study, but still we should understand that if we assume we are into that country, then automatically your answer will change. So we have to consider everything is normal in a normal scenario. However, if you want to say that certain arguments, certain examples, yes, that is good. If you are giving valid arguments that are relevant to the question asked, so you will get marks to refer it. But still, don't get carried away with it, or don't just include that in every question. Okay. So at table of content, if you see, firstly, if you look at the quantity, it's only 22 pages, right? So usually it's around 28 to 30 pages, but this pre-scene is quite small. It's small, but that doesn't mean it's easier or it's more difficult. It might have the same thing. However, overall, if you see, the content will always be very similar. For example, your role will be there, the introduction of the company, what our company is actually doing, some of the news of the industry they'll talk about. Very commonly, they'll give issues about the financial statements, budgeting information, tax regime, right? How we are doing sales, the industry, everything remains common. So let's get started. The first and most important part of any pre-scene is your role. Students might think, okay, it's a small paragraph, we'll move to next. No, here itself, the primary things come in. If you understand this properly, I personally believe your 50% job is done. Okay, let's start. Your role. It's a role play. So what's your role? You should know my role, what I am doing. So you are a finance officer. You should say, okay, I am a finance officer working with the finance department of Kanann. Firstly, we have to break it down. You are a finance officer. What does finance officer means? So to understand this particularly, we have to see through CIMA exam blueprint. They have mentioned what does finance officer usually do. For example, we have 3 levels. First, on the top is the strategic level, that we have senior finance manager. In middle level, we have finance manager. Then at the operational level, we have a finance officer. So roles and responsibility will also change according to the position they are holding. So some of the responsibilities of the finance officers include what? For example, budgeting is there, forecasting is there, dealing with the supplies is there, then dealing with other stakeholders can be there, generating information is there, right? Dealing with your own departmental issues. Sometimes they'll have conflict, horizontal conflict, vertical conflict, that issues can be there, right? All of this is a role of finance officer. But the good news for you is, most of the time, if you are confident with the role of finance officer, your questions will be very similar to that. So highly recommended. Okay, basically we have made a list of finance officer roles. If you join us at Keystone Academia, we have made a list of important questions, and important questions will come with the role of finance officer. Then we go through the pre-scene analysis, then we see the industry analysis. So once we analyze all three, once we connect the dots, that will give us a lot of tips and tricks what can be asked, right? And if you work smartly, that is very much easy for us to clear in the first attempt. Okay, then you are principally involved in the preparation of management accounting information. Again, very important here, preparation of management accounting. So firstly, we have to differentiate between management accounting and financial accounting. Management accounting talks about internal things which are not required to be given, or I'll say classified information. For example, budgeting is there, you're talking about pricing, you're talking about forecasting, which is not legally required to give away to the market. Whereas financial information or financial accounting is more about reporting, legal requirement, tax, regulatory bodies, and all of this. So your primary role is more into management accounting. Basically, CIMA itself is talking about chartered management accounting qualification. So by default, it has to bend a little bit towards management accounting. Also, one more thing I have seen from last few years of teaching, that OCS paper, especially around 40%, sometimes more than 40%, is going towards operational level, operational level issues. When I say operational level issues, more of management accounting issues. P1 is fundamental. Around 40% is P1. Sometimes around 50% is P1. So P1 is primary. That's what we do in our full-time classes also. We focus P1 first. We go through all the topics which is constantly repeating, which is linked to this Preseen. For example, if it is zero-based budgeting, if it is about pricing, if it is about forecasting, all of this, we can get an idea which topics are important once we analyze the Preseen. Okay. And providing information to managers to assist with decision making. So once we do the analysis, we'll get information which can help managers. So when we say managers, they're referring to the people at middle level, because one of the responsibilities at the operational level is to give information to the middle level, and ultimately it can go to the strategic level. How the information flow will happen in an organization? From strategic level, if they are making any decision, it will come to management level to execute. Then from there it will come to the operational level, and once that information or the reaction to it from operational level to management level to strategic level, right? It will go from top to down, then down to top. However, at times you are also expected to assist with the preparation of financial statements. So what assistance? F1 is all about financial statements, how to deal with it, right? What are the IFRSs involved? So little bit of that knowledge is also crucial. And answer queries regarding financial reporting and other financial matters. Again, financial reporting is more of F1. We'll see which IFRS we are using. If it is lease, then what we need to talk about. And sometimes they'll ask you a question about lease versus buy. What is the advantage of lease over buying, or what are the disadvantage over lease versus buy? So that is more about financial issues and financial matters. The last thing, other financial matters. Moreover, every question what we're trying to answer in the exam is mixed of E1, P1, F1, the pre-analysis, the industry as a whole. Then only we can get a very well covered answer. Okay. Therefore, we need to go through all, but prioritize, let's say P1, or sometimes certain questions can be bending towards F1. But that doesn't mean we just talk about it. We have to give a very good integrated answer. I hope it makes sense. Moving on to the next. Introduction. Kanann is a company that designs, makes, and sells saddles for horse riding. So basically, we have to understand that there are two types of business. One is manufacturers and one is seller, retailer, commission agents, or marketplaces. What does marketplaces do nowadays? Companies like Amazon, they just sell and take commission. But there are other companies who are manufacturing it. There are very few companies, especially at the bigger level, who manufactures also, sells also. So Kanann is one who is manufacturing and selling also. And manufacturing, they also design. It's not like outsources. There are certain companies who not also manufacture, doesn't sell also. They will just do the marketing, and rest all they have outsourced. So we have to understand the entire business model, what we are doing. Then only we can see what is the costing. Then only we'll have a better information for decision making. So saddles, in a simple words, I would say it is a kind of seating arrangement on the horse, like a seat on the horse, I would say. Because normally on the back of the horse, if you have ever sat, it's little uncomfortable. Once we put a saddle, it becomes quite easy to get in comfortable seat. They might have given a lot of pictures here. This is one of them. Saddle is basically giving you a grip, giving you a comfort, and obviously saddle will be different for different uses. If it is, let's, for a young boy, it will be different, and if it's somebody professional, it will be different. Moreover, if it is going for a sports person, if they're using for horse race, then they'll have a very light saddle. They want to keep it light. They don't want to put a burden on the horse. But when it goes to amateur or friendly, they will have more comfortable, right? So things will change according to the requirement. Though it is one product for now in the start, but still it has so much of complexities. And this is not something new. These saddles have been made from 18th century, 19th century, even before that. Reason being, because the only mode of transport previously was horse. Then slowly people moved on electric, or I should say, electric is a new trend now. But we have the diesel based, petrol based vehicles and automation coming. However, the way saddles were made previously might be different, and the technology might be different. So what we are using now. So Canon only makes saddles. They have made it very clear we are making only saddles. Why it is important? Because companies who are making saddles, they can very easily make bridles also. So what is bridles? Basically, bridle is something which we keep on the horse. For example, holding the horse or directing the horse. You must have seen something going uh, from the nose of the horse. That is known as bridles, right? So bridal is focusing more on that. But currently, are we doing bridals? No. But I think going forward, it's very obvious that our company might think of doing bridals as well. Okay. Then we can see advantage and disadvantage of doing that. Maybe this can be a possible question. Okay. Companies such as Canon are known as saddle makers. So we are primarily known as saddle makers. That is our expertise, that is our experience, that is our USP in business. The company is based in Keyland, again a functional country, fictional country, a country located in mainland Europe which has the K dollar as its currency. So they have given the area which is into Europe. And if you see European history, right, there have been a lot of things happening. Migration is there, war is there, other things going on and on. So horses have been always a mode of transport, used by army. Use still in today's era, we have police team using saddles. In UK, it's very common that police team is using saddles. In other countries also, that saddles, as in if they're using horse, they need to have saddles. And other countries also, it's common to see that. Okay, which has the K dollar as its currency. However, if you want to go little bit deep, we have to understand this is something of a passion now. Now, if you just remove the uh, army factor out of it, that also is very much technology driven nowadays. It's more of amateur, I would say. It's more of sporting events now. Saddles have been changed. So the primary customer, which was let's say 50 years back for a business, now it will be completely different. And obviously, when we say it's more of amateur, it is quite expensive to do horse riding. It's not only about saddle expenses, it is also about maintaining the horses, buying the horses. Then you should have a field for it, then training for it. So usually countries or which have good economic situation, people who have in demography, if we say the income levels are high, there this business will flourish. Canon was founded in 1906 by William Cannon. You can imagine it's such a old company. Almost 120 years will complete in 2026. You can imagine, if you just go to Google and see how many companies are operating more than 100 years, you'll find very few. Why? Because every few years there will be a disruption in the market. And when the disruption comes, the companies will collapse. And once you sustain this, you'll have next, then next. So very few companies globally have sustained more than 100 years. So Canon is one of them. So they must have seen all the challenges and very successfully countered all of that. So this is one of our strength. Going forward, we'll do the SWOT analysis. What we do at Keystone is, if somebody is joining us, we do a SWOT analysis with that. In SWOT analysis, we'll get strength and weaknesses of our company, what we are doing at Kanann. Then opportunity and threat. Opportunity and threat we'll get from the industry analysis. So once we mix both, we'll have an idea. When we are making decisions, when we are talking about, let's say, pricing, so that will give us a very good insight. Okay. So how it started? William started his working life as an apprentice saddler, and after completing his apprenticeship at a local company, started his own business making saddles. Okay, and obviously, if you see, it was for the Keyland Army. That time, it was more of an army-based project, as we discussed. He purchased a site on the outskirts of his local town and built a workshop. So this is more of, general, I would say. The company remains on this original site, although it has expanded over the years to incorporate a production facility, inventory warehouses, and offices. So far we have, obviously we might have gone through so many transitions. It's more than 100 years. During the 1920s and 1930s, the customer base widened to include civilian customers and customers in other European countries. So primarily it started only with the army, but a lot of people has taken this over as a passion, and we have sporting events also happening. So it started with this, but slowly moved on to civilian customers, moved on to other countries also. That means we have seen a lot of product development happening throughout the time, right? And we should also see when we go forward, what are the new market developments we can do. When I say this, it's more of market development, but little bit of product development might also happen, because when you are making something for army, you don't need to make same for the civilian. For example, army will say we need something which is light, which is very easy to move, but a civilian customer will say, okay, I need comfort, I don't need to rush, I need to enjoy the process. It's more of a leisure, right? During this time, the company became known for its high quality and stylish saddles. The USP so far, it looks like a quality and style. No doubt, quality across industry is primary. That may be one of the reason why we are operating, more than 100-year-old. Style also matters. Usually, if you see horses and people who do horse riding, their uniform, everything is very stylish. The style is a primary thing here, right? So when we are doing our marketing, when we are doing our budgeting, everything, we should consider styling element as well. So we might have to have a special expense for design. What types of design we are putting into the saddles, what type of quality, in this kind of saddles, if you do some research, we'll find out there are certain people who are still making handmade saddles, 100% handmade. The quality of leather and everything is very superior, but the problem with that, they end up making very small number of that. It cannot cater the entire need. So there'll be very niche market, but we cannot survive as a business only through the niche market. So we have to see the advantages and disadvantages of both. The saddles made and sold by Kanann today are based on traditional designs and are marketed as general purpose saddles rather than specialist saddles. So what's the difference? Firstly, general purpose and specialist. Specialist, you can say, for army, for a sporting event, for specific need, or general is more of a leisure, which can be used for others also, but we are not going into the niche. Maybe one of the reason is the market size. Their more traditional design means that Kanann saddles have limited appeal in some modern markets. That is where an important point is coming. They are saying traditional designs. Remember, in any business, we have to keep on innovating the designs. So if you are not doing design according to the needs, so the appeal can change. For example, they are saying limited appeal. So maybe the veterans are happy with the traditional design, but the young population is not happy. So our demand is not increasing. The innovation and development seen in this product offered by other saddle makers, but lacking in Kanann saddles. So if you don't do proper R&D, if you don't do innovation, definitely these things will be affected. Are thought to be reason why Kanann sales have not increased as much as of those of some other brands. So despite being very old brand, if you are not innovating, somebody can again come and kind of disrupt our market. The general perception in the market is that although Canon saddles offer value for money, the company has significantly fallen behind the times. This is a very strong line, and we should stop here and discuss. When we talk about SWOT, when I said weakness, this has become a primary weakness for us. We should never have a perception in the market that we are going behind times. Even if you are doing traditional design, this should be look okay. These companies are doing handmade or they're using traditional design. So it should be look as a differentiator. It should be an order winner. So definitely this thing need to be considered when we are talking about our management accounting or decision making. This thing should be conveyed to the team. Why we are doing it? Why we don't have designers? Why we are not inculcating new techniques? If you're sustaining from such a long time, so we should have good relationship in the industry, in the ecosystem throughout the world. So why are we lacking? What is the primary reason behind it? Okay, we'll see this going forward. Then the saddle consists of a tree, the inner skeleton of the saddle, webbing and leather pieces which are stitched together to create the saddle. So basically, it is made of three pieces. So we'll have one on the right side support, left side support, the center part, right? Like this. We'll have a seat, we'll have a cantle, pommel, tree. They have given certain description for it. Flaps, knee rolls and thigh blocks. Some saddles are very big. Paneling. Again, it will depend on the purpose also. This is general purpose. Both are general purpose. Different designs. It has European style, it has Australian style, it has English style. That also we can see when we go forward. So if you want to cater the global market, we have to come with a different designs. That's what they are giving. These things, how it is made and all, it is important, but not very important from the exam perspective. Reason being, they should be asking questions more relating to the finance officer role, not about how to manufacture, how to design. Yes, they will say it is worth to invest in designing. So you can say yes, from financial perspective, we have to look at, let's say, NPO analysis, excuse me, or some other analysis, then you can recommend it. The company currently offer a range of 3 different styles of saddles and different options in respect of tree and the quality of the leather used. Today, Canon saddles tend to be used by amateur equestrians who typically use them for hacking and occasionally for a very low level competition. Very low level competition, that means, maybe at a district level or a county level. They are not going to a national, international level. That will bring us more customers actually. That is where branding can happen. If you look at Nike will sponsor the best of players. If you see in basketball, they have sponsored the best athletes. If you see in athletics, they have done to the best athletes. So once people see, okay, this person is wearing this brand, or that brand is actually adding value, then sales will just shot up. The primary expense for them is marketing, and it will go to the sports stars, right? So this is a starting of the Preseen. Overall, very interesting. Once we go forward, we'll also see what are the other things, what are the strengths we have, how the things have been done. They have given a good background of the industries also, how all of this work, right? The other product what they were talking about is the one, which is on the head of the horse, which we are not making for now. Maybe in the future we can also come up with that. Okay, this is how saddles are clean. Anyways, going forward, we'll see what are the types of saddles we have, how much the costing is worked. Okay, that is very important for us. What roles we have in our team, how big the team is. So once you join for the sessions, we'll go through all of those. Okay, where the sales are coming from, everything play a very important role. This thing should be kind of learned, and when you're writing an exam question, this will be part of it. You don't need to go back to the pre-scene. You should, okay, this is the reason why I'm going with this particular saddle. That is the reason I don't recommend that, or this kind of budgeting will work, this kind of costing will work. Okay, number of employees we have, how much is head office. Comparatively, a small company, if you see how long we have been operating, usually if you look at the other corporations, in 15 to 20 years they'll go for listing. They'll have thousands of employees. Okay, so this is it from the pre-scene. This is just the starting. Then we'll have more sessions when we'll talk about the financials, when we'll talk about the important topics, when we'll talk about the industry. Okay, so that's it for today, guys, as an introduction to the Canon operational case study. So for more details, and if you want to join us, please visit our website at keystoneacademia.com, or you can get in touch with me on LinkedIn. Thank you so much. Wish you good luck.